This is the Game Philosopher. Today we're talking about friendship in today's episode of Modern Platonism. Alright, so enough with the cringy opening. So I must apologize that this is the only episode that I'm going to do this week for Modern Platonism, which is a pretty good series, I'd have to say. But this video I've been working really hard on, and there's a reason why I've been struggling with it a little bit, and that's because Socrates, at first, he makes really weird claims, only to follow by, later on in this video, or later on in the dialogue, that he is very inconclusive. And so anyway, the book of the day is the Nicomachean Ethics. Now this is a very old book, so it's a little damaged, but at the same time, Aristotle actually is who I'm going to base some of my theories off of today, because he talks about the three kinds of friendship, and he defines them as friendships based off of utility, which are pretty much stated that utility is an impermanent thing. It changes according to circumstances, so with the disappearances of the ground for friendship, the friendship also breaks up, because that which was what kept it alive. Friendships of this kind seem to occur most frequently between the elderly, because at their age, what they want is not pleasure but utility. And those in the middle or early life are pursuing their advantage. Or such persons do not spend much time together because sometimes they do not even like one another. Therefore, feel no need of such associates unless they are mutually useful, for they take pleasure in each other's company only in so far as they have hopes of advantage from it. Friendships with foreigners generally are included in this class. Now, there's issues with this. Actually, Socrates, early on in his dialogue, he actually somewhat agrees with Aristotle here, and when he's talking to the person he was demonstrating how to obtain a friend with, he pretty much says that you will get no friends until you have any bit of utility or wisdom. That people will like people who have such. And at the same time, I think this type of friendship is not really friendship at all, because, well, if it's just utility, you will not really know the person. And if you don't know the person, I really don't see how you can actually say that it's, in particular, any type of friend, but an acquaintance or a fellow worker. But certainly it's not really a friendship, because, as Aristotle denotes, they don't really hang out any. They don't really talk with each other. And ultimately, we see some problems here with how friends, a lot of times, they know each other very well. And if you're not around someone a lot, it's very hard for you to call them a friend. Like, if I were to find someone and say, "My friend," and be happy with them, and try to talk with them like a friend, well, let's just say that I would be humiliating myself, because that person's not a friend yet, because I haven't had time to develop any type of relationship with that person, so I can't really say that they're friends, but rather acquaintances. And this is also a very bad problem with the current day views of friendship, because a lot of times people get on the internet and they talk with someone for so long, and this is actually going to go a little bit into the friends with pleasure, but this person might agree with their statements or whatever on this thing, and so what happens is that they treat each other very friendly, even though they don't know each other very well. But then when they see some disagreement, they get all uptight and in arms to fight against this person who they once considered a friend, and they consider that person then an enemy. So it goes from one extreme to another. Now, moving on, friendship based on pleasure. Now, I can make lots of jokes on friends with benefits here, just like I probably could have with the friends based off of utility, but I won't. No, we're not talking about sexual pleasure. Friends or friendship between the young is thought to be grounded on pleasure because the lives of the young are regulated by their feelings, and the chief interest is in their own pleasure and the opportunity of the moment. With advancing years, however, their taste changes too, so that they are quick to make and to break friendships because their affections change just as things that please them do. And this sort of pleasure changes rapidly. Also, the young are apt to fall in love for erotic friendships. Alright, so I guess that is friendship benefits included in this category, which is kind of funny. I haven't read this book in a while. It's, for the most part, swayed by the feeling based off of pleasure. That's why falling in and out of friendship quickly happens to them, changing their attitude often within the same day. But the young do like to spend the day and live together because that's how they realize the object of the friendship. So at this we have an element of friendship, really, where people are looking for people who make them laugh. They're looking for adventure. They're looking for the erotic. They're pretty much basing the friendship based off of things that actually appear pleasant to them. And a lot of times people actually get depressed with this type of friendship because it's really hard to obtain. Because really, a lot of times people judge very superficially when they're looking for friends of this nature. And so what happens is, for example, someone might think that you look weird or creepy. Well, that's because they're looking for a friend of pleasure, and you don't really have an aesthetically appealing thing for them. And in this, I'd have to say that we have to be very careful to realize that it's just that form of friendship. It's not really something that has to do with us as people. And when people agree with one another, you actually get a form of friendship based off pleasure because they find it pleasant. But then they turn around and they attack each other and call each other enemies once there's a slight deviation in the current day view of friendship. And that's very much unfortunate because people don't really cultivate friendships very well. They're basing it off of any type of agreement or pleasure. And yes, you can say that's part of a friendship as a part of utility. But anyway, the third type of friendship is the perfect friendship, which is based off of goodness. And this is where I agree a lot with Aristotle. Only the friendship of those who are good and similar in their goodness is perfect. For these people each alike wish good for the other qua good. And they are good in themselves, and it is those who desire the good of their friends for the friend's sake that are the most truly friends, because each loves the other for what he is and not for any incidental quality. Accordingly, The friendship of such men lasts so long that they remain good, and goodness is an enduring quality. Also, each party is good both absolutely and for his friends. Since the good are both good absolutely and useful to each other. Similarly, they please one another. Two, for the good are pleasing both absolutely and to each other, because each are pleased by his own conduct. Because everyone is pleased with his own conduct and conduct that resembles it. And the conduct of good men is the same or similar. Friendship of this kind is permanent. Now, I'm going to stop right there because, as you can tell, the big thing about Aristotle is he becomes very repetitive. Which is why I don't read a lot of Aristotle unless it's rhetoric or organon, which I think are pretty much the biggest works of his. Now, scientists would disagree with me because he pretty much he made science very systematic early on, and it was very impressive. But anyway, that's digression. This perfect friendship is a type of friendship that you will have if you learn to love other people and show people your qualities and they look at their qualities, and you're pretty much, I'm not going to say necessarily non-judgmental, but at the same time you're not overly judgmental on very stupid things. And what happens is when you observe people's brains, if you look at their behavior and how hard they try out this or that, you will realize that these people are worthy of being loved, and so you form a friendship with them. And that person gives you qualities too, so that whole element of giving quality actually in turn creates a situation where there's mutual improvement, and in mutual improvement we find that the friendship actually is founded. And that's where what we find is that friendship can happen in a permanent way, but a lot of times you can't flatter because you'll be mistrusted. If you can't attack people and put them in the place as Socrates would, because that would certainly not be beneficial towards creating a friend. Now, what you want is honesty, and with honesty and care, well, people will drift towards you because over time they will see how good of a person you are. Now, a lot of the later dialogue of Socrates is very inconclusive, but one of the interesting things is that Socrates early on talks about how words should be such that you are able to soothe someone and not rile them up. And he also mentioned some wisdom about talking to someone, and instead of finding a happiness from flattering them, that they're easier to be caught when they're easy put within a place where they are very honest and that they don't have as much ego. And so if you want to be a friend, if you want to be caught as a friend, just get rid of your ego. And at the same time, someone else might get rid of their ego too. And this high-mindedness, which is based off of nothing, becomes a high-mindedness based off of everything that's good within a friendship. And really, when you think about it, friendships based off of goodness also contain the pleasure element, because when you are getting along with someone very well and that they're improving you, eventually you will throw jokes and they will give you honesty on it, then it also has utility to have friendships based off of goodness, because friends can help each other out. Now, they're not always perfect, but they will do what they can to take care of each other, and that's really where friendship is. And this is more an Aristotelianism than a Platonism, but at the same time, I think you'll find that Aristotle was also a Platonist, although he's only called Aristotelian based off of the slight disagreements he had with Plato and his different methodology. But at the same time, I think Aristotle would consider himself a Platonist, so I think that justifies getting away from Socrates and going to Aristotle just for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you tomorrow when I do take part of a podcast, which will be on a debate I've been getting into based off of YouTube controversies. Now, if I find that people like discussions, I will do more and more and seek more discussion, and maybe even host some on my channel. Who knows? Now, the next one I'll do is I'll talk about the Socratic Method and give some really good examples of how it's done. Maybe I might bring someone on the channel to demonstrate it. Maybe I will not. Who knows? Just enjoy your day. And remember to seek good friends.